I know what you think, what you telling your friends when you're talking about me. It's cool, you can say what you want to. I don't give a fuck what you think. No, I don't need you, I just
All right, everybody. Today I am with a very special guest. I'm just so excited to have Kara Ross from the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan in the house. So thank you so much for joining. I know that this is your busy time of year, isn't it?
It is, but thank you. We're so happy to get the word out and share more about what our network is doing, and we appreciate it.
This is wonderful. And I actually see that we have some friends from your hometown, from the food bank, and they're saying that they are very proud of Kara. And we're so incredibly grateful for Kara and all of the staff at the food bank, along with volunteer sponsors, the community, people that are making this resource a reality. And I was hoping that, you could tell us a little bit about what do you guys have going on?
Well, sure, we have so much going on. We're actually a food bank that, of course, is located in Flint, but we cover 22 counties. So Eastern Michigan is a pretty good description. So we do have 22 counties of Michigan that we help and a network of over 700 partners and programs that do that work with us. So when you talk about volunteers and community, it's really everybody coming together and neighbor helping neighbor to make sure that we're uplifting any concerns that a household has around food and food security, being able to provide meals for their children. And we're here as that resource to help provide some just support, especially during this really incredible hard time during the pandemic as emergency food providers.
And earlier you and I had a chance to talk briefly, and you were explaining that since the pandemic has kicked in, that you have seen an increase with more requests for help, and it's a little bit different than what you've experienced in the past. Can you share that with our viewers, and maybe give them some insight if there are people that are
Absolutely.
struggling? They're not the only. Go ahead.
Yeah, what's really incredible is that during the pandemic, 40% of people coming to our network were new. There were people that never had to ask for help before. And I think we had to, even with our staff and our team, talk about how we spread the awareness about what the Emergency Food Network is about and how to access that and how to get help. It really is something, it's again that neighbor helping neighbor mentality. If it's a faith based pantry or a soup kitchen, all of these locations are open in neighborhoods to help provide food to families that need it. So it's a simple declaration of help. It's somebody coming forward to say, I need help with food. There's no income requirement or ID, paycheck stub. We're not a federal program like SNAP or WIC or other things that, of course, we try to get people connected to. But there's so many people that also still don't qualify for a federal benefit or program and still need help. So, this emergency food network of pantries and people working together are really there for just that, for the gaps that might occur. During the pandemic, we had so many people that worked 2 or 3 part time jobs and they lost maybe the hours that they would work at a restaurant or a hotel in the service industry, especially in our northern areas of Michigan where tourism is such a big draw. And we really needed to change our message to let people know where they could go to mobile pantry distributions, where they could drive through safely and get help with food right in the trunk of their car, and just think differently about our work and how we do it. So that's what our team did. It's what our agencies did, our volunteers that work so hard day in and day out. We just shifted how we thought and we made it happen.
Now, something that some of our viewers may not know is you're not just one setup. You've partnered with all of these other people. Can you explain that a little bit so people know you don't just have to come to
Yeah.
Flint, how you've set it up where you're in other people's communities?
Well, I think, first of all, there's a misconception. A lot of times people think a food bank is a food pantry. And the food bank in any community is really a hub or warehouse where all of the USDA food, the commodities, the donated food product, your retail store pickup partners donate food for emergency food providers. So
Mm-hmm.
we're a storehouse, we're a bank. That's where the name came from, food bank.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all part of Feeding America, which is a national network of food banks. So there's in any state a listing or a directory where you can get in contact with your local food bank and then they can help you with your neighborhood agency or partner and program to get the help that you need, or maybe to get engaged in volunteerism.
Hmm.
But it is something that there's, 200 food banks in the nation, and
Wow.
Feeding America with their website too can help you connect to your local food bank. And then even for our food bank, of course, we have 700 partners, and that number is going to be different for
Excellent.
each food bank that you call, but they work with the pantries and soup kitchens and children's programs. We have a full kitchen, so we provide meals for after school and during summer when free and reduced price lunch or breakfast might not be available.
Yeah.
So each food bank might have different programs or things that they do, but in essence, they're all working to alleviate hunger for neighbors and in their community through really great programs.
That's fantastic. I even have, I noticed that you even have programs for seniors. So it seems
Yeah.
like you really do try to provide a resource for our most vulnerable, the children, the seniors, and people that are maybe struggling just in between, changes that are happening in the economy and stuff. But the one thing is certain, for this to be able to be possible, you have to have people that are making deposits into the food bank, right? Whether it's through volunteering, donation, or, and donation could be something they're donating or even monetary. And I know that you guys have worked with multiple local grocery companies to be
Hmm.
able to get access to fresh food also. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because it's kind of it's a win-win situation for everybody, and it's a
It
good thing
really
for our
is. We
community.
partner with our local retail stores or grocery stores, and we also partner with Michigan Farms.
Mm,
So we have over 16 farms that we work with that either donate or we buy directly from. There's a lot of produce that would otherwise, be turned under at the end of the season. If it wasn't, a grade A to go to a grocery store, it might look a little different, but
mm-hmm,
it's still really great produce. So we're able to capture that and have it bagged in family size portions to share. And then, of course, our food comes in donated from all across the nation. So, what we're really doing is paying for transportation to get it
mm,
here to Michigan. So, when you
mm-hmm,
see that leveraging ratio, we talk about the dollar equaling 6 meals. That's where the power of a food bank comes into play because we're able to procure food and get it to our region for everybody to use and share in at very little cost.
mm-hmm.
So, for example, our operating budget usually is about $12 million, but we're able to provide over $80 million worth of food
It's
with that money.
incredible. Yeah, so you're
It's
definitely
it is incredible, and
turning
and
out
it's
more.
taking all of those collaborations and partnerships to make that happen. So
Right.
we do encourage people to donate dollars, not cans, because
Yeah.
we're able to turn that dollar into so much more than you'd be able to get through a grocery store or a food drive.
Right.
And then just support that network that we again can pay for transportation with a third party carrier or a semi bringing it in. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some weeks where we're distributing 55 semis worth of food.
It's
And so when you think about
incredible.
that volume and what's needed to support our neighbors,
Yeah.
it's really incredible in terms of size and scope. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what a food bank really is in a community for, to be that resource and storehouse.
That's incredible. Now, you guys have donated, is it 51 million tons of food or pounds of
51
food?
million pounds.
Pounds of
Yeah,
food?
it's to give you an example, in 2019, we were doing about 30 million pounds of food. And again, with the pandemic and so much more need
Yeah.
showing itself with people, new people needing help, and everyone that needed to be supported, we had a 65% increase in the 1 year. So we're
Wow.
now well over 50 million pounds of food, and we really don't see an end currently in sight. And
Mm-hmm.
when you think about people who work 2 or 3 part-time jobs to get by, they've depleted their savings. They maybe have sold their belongings or their cars to try to keep their house or their rent paid. So
Right.
we're really going to have a period of time where people continue to try to recover from this pandemic in rebuilding that savings and nest egg that they had before
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic hit. So when we say this and look at this work, we know it's going to be increased for at least another 6 months to a year, if not longer,
Right.
for people to recover and build back what they had before, as any emergency does when it happens, whether it be a local, fire or a divorce in a family. There's a
Right.
bunch of situations that would require people to change how they, handle their, household incomes. And you have to make some very difficult choices, whether you pay the heat or prescription bills, your rent, and what's left
Mhm.
then for food. So
And these
if
are
we can take
very
a look,
real problems that families are facing
yeah,
every
they're
single
hard
day.
choices.
It is. It is. But one of the things that I think is key, Kara, is open dialogue and talking about these sort of things. And it's a little bit separate than the part that you're doing of like nourishing them. But the other part is the mental part because so many people, like middle agers, that are trying to make it all happen, take care of the parents, take care of the children, or seniors who are now retired, or children that are just trying to make it through while their parents are working. And these are people that have real needs. And sometimes people become ashamed to talk about needing help. And the more that we, I think, have that dialogue to let people know, hey, you're not the only one. We have this
Exactly.
together, and there's a reason why. And just because you
Well, and
get down doesn't mean you're staying there.
exactly. And that's what this is for. It's for transitions in your life where you
Mm-hmm.
need to ask for help. And that isn't hard to
Mm-hmm.
do if you know that you're going to be supported and
That's right.
uplifted by your community, that you're going to be served with dignity and respect and shown that by your neighbors. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what a community is meant to be. It's what I think we all strive to do in our own lives and especially in our work that we do here at the food bank.
Mm-hmm.
It's to be that resource when times get hard and to celebrate what we're able to do and how we can help one another. And I think there just needs to be so much more of that and making those connections and collaboration. And we really worked hard to just identify what the gaps were in what, neighbors might still not have, where there's food deserts, where there's lack of fresh produce, even at the grocery store or the
Mm-hmm.
corner market. That's where we want to be at. And even with our summer feeding program, we went to having meal delivery trucks. Let's take food right out to children at an apartment complex or a basketball court where there might not be a traditional boys and girls club or
Mm-hmm.
after school program operating. And so we're really trying to think differently about how we can serve people where they are, home delivery to seniors and some other things that we're working on to just make sure that, again, we don't want people to not be able to access this emergency food network. It's there to do exactly what you described, to help people when they have a time of need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think having them set up in all these different locations is key. Now, some of our viewers may or may not know, when Kara was using the term food desert, there's certain pockets in our community here and actually across the United States where there's a lack of resources for grocery stores and being able to access fresh food, fresh produce, vegetables, all that good stuff. And it obviously that has a consequence on the health of the community between obesity and many other things. So we've noticed some positive changes that have been happening even in Flint to try to address those issues, over the past couple of years of putting in like the Flint Farmers Market downtown, implementing some of the bus passes so people can easily get there and access food. But what you're doing is going a little bit further too and making sure that some of those resources are brought to local pantries, churches, places that are nestled right into the community, correct?
Exactly. That's exactly correct. And even doing produce deliveries in the summer months
Oh, that's
when we're
great.
in the harvest season, right?
Yeah,
So, part of the mobile pantry distribution always has two or three fresh produce items on it.
I
A lot
love
of times
that.
it includes milk and protein and dairy items.
Yeah.
The food bank of the past is so different than what we are today. More than half of what we distribute is fresh. It's the milk and dairy and meats and all the different proteins, as well as fresh produce and things that everybody should have access to and have the ability to make those choices for
Mm-hmm.
themselves too, not just be handed something, but be able to pick it out and choose it for themselves based on what they like to eat or what they want to try. And then, of course, we always try to partner with people too. We have a great partnership with Hurley Food Pharmacy and other health outcome programs now for exactly what you talked about in putting food right alongside the need for prescriptions or a treatment plan, whether it be a diagnosis or pre-existing, disease that's coming on to somebody. The worst thing you can do is send somebody home to take medicine and not have them have the food that needs to go along with it. So a lot of the innovative space and work is being done with healthcare organizations as well as traditional pantries and partners, working with our school systems to make sure we're doing, we have over 200 schools that send weekend backpacks home with kids full of meals, not just snacks that the children can have for the weekend and then share with their family members. So we're always trying to increase that as well with some healthy options and fresh items when we can, as well as the vitamin content that can come from a cereal or another item that they might not always have in the home. So
And I
these
love
programs
that
do a lot
idea of
to
like the
support that.
collaboration, how you were talking about like working with Hurley and working with the hospitals. And I think that, I think Flint is a poster child for a lot of communities to look at on how nonprofits and key organizations can come together to improve the overall health and wellness of our community. Going back to, you were talking about the Hurley program that they have for that pharmacy. I love that whole concept because what they're saying is, before turning to pills and all these, more intense forms of health treatment, if there's an option to integrate healthy eating and a healthy
Hmm.
lifestyle, sometimes you can reverse some of the damage that you've done with just minor changes, starting with addressing obesity and high blood pressure, reducing your sodium. So, one of the neat things about you guys connecting with them is sometimes they have some people that come through that maybe they don't have access to the fruits, the vegetables, or understand, this is another key thing, understand how to cook with these healthier alternative foods instead of prepackaged or fast food or
Hmm.
whatever. So you guys are really working together to provide resources, provide a space to connect with that resource along with the education component, which I think is super key in being able to make some of these changes.
Well, and all these things go alongside each other. So, it's not a space where organizations need to compete with one another. They really need to
No,
collaborate and
absolutely.
share what each strength is.
Hmm.
So we work with Michigan State Extension and the list is so long. There's so
I
many
love
partners that work
that.
alongside
Hmm.
to provide those things. But we do also have our outreach coordinators work and have SNAP outreach that they do. So we make sure
Yeah.
that we help people sign up for the Birch card. It's a complicated application, and we'll scan your driver's license and help you through that to again make sure that these frontline federal resources that are available too are really maxed out with families and that they're getting everything that they're
That's how we
qualified
keep families
to
healthy and
receive.
together, especially during this hard
Mhm.
time. I love that you're doing that. I love that.
Thank
And
you.
you actually have multiple families and even generations of families that have come back in to work with you, including the Landell family, who I absolutely love, who are the operators of Landell Packaging. And they have been very proactive on getting involved from like a bigger scope. But I would love to know from you, from like a small family that just wants to do their part, what are some things that we can do to help support you?
Well, right now we're in the midst of our holiday campaign, so we're trying to raise $1 million in the holiday season, and that helps support our operations. I spoke about that $12 million budget.
Yeah.
The majority of it's made up by gifts of $25, $50 coming into the food bank. So it's
Hmm.
very important that we share that with individuals.
Hmm.
Right now, there's a match that's available from Big John's Steak and Onion, matching a dollar for dollar up to $100,000 once that's raised.
He's
And
incredible. He's always giving
yeah,
to the
it really
community. I
is. And
love
there's so
that
much that,
guy.
whether you're a family or a small business, you can really connect with some of the things that we're able to do. We have ornaments that you can offer for $1 at your business. We have a web page that we can build for you if you want to have your own campaign fundraising page and track that and share it with your staff or with your customers. Just a
Mm.
variety of tools that we can help you with if you want to do this fundraising as a group or with an organization. If you're with a Boy Scout troop, or maybe it's one of the local colleges that wants to get involved. There's so many options, and our development team can help connect those resources for you in the work that you want to do. So, as simple as sharing something in a newsletter, we always say it's nice to give the gift of food instead of giving a gift at the holiday season. You can always give in honor of somebody and share that with the food bank as a monetary donation. And then we'll help send a letter out to recognize that person that you want to honor with your gift.
Oh
So,
my gosh,
just a
I
ton of
love
options, a ton
that.
of ways to
So
get
for the
involved.
person that's hard to buy, go and buy
Yeah,
meals. Now, what isn't I think I saw on your website, correct me if I'm wrong, that $200 will pay for 1 year of meals for, was it maybe a senior?
yeah, it's a senior box program, and even the backpack program is, it's the 200 or 100 for the year will do so much,
Yeah,
as well as even, just do an online gift and go to our website. You can sign up for an annual subscription where you're paying so much per month, or maybe donating that 25 or
I
$50
love it.
monthly.
I love
And so
it.
there's, so many ways to do that. And of course, if you're a workplace, you can do all the fun things that we think about. Have a
Hmm.
jeans day or have a workplace
Yeah,
campaign and get everybody involved. We have over 50 businesses working on this holiday campaign right now
I
with
love
us.
it.
And so there's always room for more and bigger
And that
ideas.
makes
And
the team feel good too. Like the people that
yeah,
are working in that company, when they're coming through and their work is now having an impact, not just to provide for themselves, but to help others, that has such a boost in morale and being able to create, I think, like um,
sure.
a team
Well,
connection.
and
So,
throughout the year, we
yeah.
offer those same kind of opportunities for team building with volunteering. I mean, you can come in and
Hmm.
volunteer and help sort food and get it ready for these mobile food pantry distributions. We have to sort, frozen meat product and cans and things that came through the retail stores. We have to inspect everything and make sure that it's safe and good to send back out. And so that work goes on all the time, whether it's during the week at night or during the day. Saturdays, we have a
Wow.
9 to noon time frame that we welcome volunteers into the building, and we have plenty of space, so you can space out and be safe and still do those team building activities with family members or with your workplace,
That's
a book
right.
group, whatever you have that you want to connect
Right.
with and give back to the community. We're a great place for you to come and volunteer and do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, one of the things that I want to do is I want to contribute a $200 donation to pay for 1 year of meals for
Oh,
somebody out
thank
there.
you, that's
And
so wonderful.
well, thank you because every day you're in there doing the grind out there promoting. I see you, Kara. I see you out there in the community, and you're actually making a really incredible difference. So, my heart is filled with so much gratitude for you, your team, all of the people that are involved. So, and this is one of the
Thank
key
you.
things that I'm hoping people that come in and view this video is to take away. Yes, there's this resource, but guess what? The need does not stop on December 26th or January 1st. The need continues all year round. So, even if you get into, you said that you even have things where you can do a reoccurring payment, what of like a donation of
Yeah.
$10 or whatever you can afford.
Right. Think about what you might spend on a lunch or a dinner
Yeah.
out, and go online and commit to that each month, because
Hmm.
then it will continue to support, again, neighbor helping neighbor. It's so humbling, this work. I'm
Absolutely.
honored to be here as the leader of this organization, but really I always say we're kind of hosting a community party because it
Hmm.
takes everybody coming in to do the work, to volunteer, to be a part of our board,
That's
to
right.
be in service at a local faith-based pantry or soup kitchen.
That's
It's
right.
thousands and thousands of people doing this
Yeah.
6 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And so we're really inspired by that here. Our team does an incredible job of making sure that this product moves and that it's safe,
Yeah.
and that we're doing everything in accordance with that respect and dignity that we talked about.
It's so
And
important.
just
Yeah.
figure out what you'd like to do, how you would like to be a part of it, whether it's volunteering or donating or,
Hmm.
attending an event here at the food bank. We have our great empty bowls event every fall, a
I
golf
need to
outing,
get on your
things that we
invite
can
list for
do.
that,
Yeah.
Kara, because I never get an invite. For some reason, I was on the list. And then
Okay. Well,
through the
we'll make
years,
sure
somehow
you
my
get it
name
this
got off
year.
there. And then I always see everybody with their pretty little bowls afterwards. And it's like, I wanted to go. We're talking
It's one
about
of my
art. We're talking
favorites.
about
It's
helping
like
people.
you're hosting a family reunion here at the food bank. So we have lunch and dinner, and the whole community comes in. And the Guy Adamak and the FIA team is just amazing. They're so supportive with
For those
the
of you that
handmade
don't know
bowls.
FIA, that's Flint Institute of Arts, which is another incredible resource in our community. But go ahead, Kara. I didn't mean to interrupt
Yeah,
you.
they're just so incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
Guy's done this for over 40 years in making bowls and bringing his students into the mission of the
I love
symbolism
it.
of an empty bowl
It
and just
is.
having enough meals to provide for a family, having
Hmm.
food for your table. And it's so symbolic, but it's my favorite day
It's
because
beautiful.
everybody comes through and visits with everybody. And then
Hmm.
people start taking people on tours of the food
Hmm.
bank like they own the place, which is I think is awesome. It's just great to have our donors and community feel like this is theirs because
Yeah,
that's what it's meant to be.
that's
It's a
right.
community movement to end hunger, and that's what we want everybody to get inspired to do something and become a part of it.
Absolutely. And I think it's something we got to keep in the forefront of our minds. So having those decorative bowls in our house reminds people because I think the last statistic I had heard was 1 out of 5 children in the United States goes to bed hungry. Have
Yeah.
you heard that
And isn't
statistic?
that tragic? I mean, that's what keeps, I think, most of us up at night, right?
That's
Why do you,
right.
if you're a child in Alcona County, where you're 3, 4 miles from the nearest neighbor, and you get off that bus at night, you might not have food until the next day when you're at school.
Right.
If your family can't connect to a local pantry or have the resources that they need there in their neighborhood.
That's
And
right.
that's why we're about expanding our 700 should be 1,000 people,
Oh
a
my
thousand
gosh, that's
organizations
great,
coming together
Kara.
to serve
Oh,
their neighborhood, right? So
I
where are
love
we
that.
at, right? For all the great things we're doing, when you look at a county, if there's only 4 or 5 agencies in one corner,
That's right.
what about the rest of the county, right?
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
our outreach team's doing a really great job of analyzing and looking at based on hunger statistics and census information.
Yeah.
But really, everybody knows where, especially when you talk about school systems
Hmm.
and, where hungry neighbors are and where people are coming from. And it's
That's right.
everywhere. It's not a stigma of, one type of area.
No, it happens
It's
anywhere,
your neighbor
right
and it's your
into the
brother, it's your
suburbs.
sister.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. This is very
So,
real. And even people that maybe personal in the past had professional jobs and things shifted, and then
yeah.
there becomes that shortage. But I think busting through that shame factor is key. When I was in high school, I worked at a camp for Salvation Army, and we would go into communities that were struggling financially, and they would host these summer camps. And one of the first experiences that I had where I really realized the depth of, how many people are in need of basics like food was one of the camp participants, a young boy who was maybe 7, was stealing. We would bring in lunch for the day, and then one of the kids was stealing food and putting it in his backpack. And fortunately, through proper training and education of the people because I was just a youngster, but the leaders in that particular community identified that there was, that child was doing that because there was a need, there was a lack of, and they ended up connecting, getting that family the right resources so they can make it through. So also part of us identifying and then helping create a solution is key, and then bringing it into those communities in a very non-shameful way, I think is
Yeah,
vital.
positive way, right?
Yeah,
And that's exactly what
that's
our
right.
network does very well. And
Yeah, you do.
and it's why, the most trusted people in our community are usually the people that are building these relationships.
Hmm.
It's the senior citizen that's giving
Yeah.
back or the volunteer that's there doing this work. And it's important that we just ask the right questions and that we have this, lens of, why is this happening and what is going on in our community and how can we connect those dots
That's
for
right.
people. And even if you can't do it personally, how you know who to call or how to
Mm-hmm.
help. And
Mm-hmm.
so we
Mm-hmm.
just ask that everybody do that and be inspired in some way to get a part of
Do
what's
your
going
little
on
part. Do your
and
little part.
yeah, do your part, whether it's a donation or volunteering
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
giving back.
And one big thing I'm always blown away with is how these little teeny tiny things to come together it creates something big. But if each of us holds on to that one little thing that we have, whether it's a donation of our time or money or whatever, if we hold it back, we're not going to be able to make that mass accumulation for real impact and real change. So this is some really good, vital stuff. Um, your team dropped a couple comments that I'm going to read really quick, and it says, we're always looking for volunteers. Email Carrie to volunteer at Carrie Brack at fbem.us to schedule your time slot. And I've got that right down there below so you can see that. If you want to volunteer, this could be something fun for, youngsters, families, businesses. Get in there, do your part. Try to make this
Yeah,
world a little
and
bit better.
volunteer. If you can get here to the food bank, volunteer here. If you can't, let's find a local agency or partner that you can maybe go out and help with a mobile pantry distribution or,
Mm-hmm.
doing something there too locally to your neighborhood.
I
So
love that.
just get engaged or call and
Yeah.
ask the questions and see what we can help you with. And our website is always available if you need help. You can go there and see when the distributions are going on that are the mobile pantry distributions. You can see a map of where our pantry network is and what's
Mm-hmm.
open on particular days and phone numbers and contact people for you to call. And you can get all the information about volunteering or starting a program or doing something in your own community as well as making a donation. So the website's full of great information, but please don't be afraid. Call our regular, mainline number and we'll get you connected to the right department or person too that can answer more of your questions.
I love that. And real quick again, the website is www.fbem.org, Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. And that's a cool thing about Flint. Guess what? Flint likes to give back and serve beyond just our community. Flint is pretty awesome. Yeah, more people need
For
to know.
sure.
Anyhow, well, hey, Kara, I know that you're super busy. You're acting like Santa Claus's helper out there, whipping up all kinds of magic. But I do want to thank you. I want to thank your team and all of your sponsors and people involved. And then I'll connect back with you later too on how we can get that donation to you guys. So thank you,
Great.
darling.
Thank
I
you for that
appreciate
too.
you. Keep doing your magic. And then on that
Thanks.
note, let's take it out with a little fireworks to celebrate all the good stuff at the food bank. You guys rock. All right, you guys, in the meantime, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate this. If you got something out of this message and you think it could help somebody, go ahead and give it a quick share. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
For the Ecamm family.